validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. We've got us a pretty straight what's today? Friday. I got to double check and see what happened with the supposed flood that was supposed to be going down with California. So I'll be giving you guys some updates on that later this weekend. Also, we're going to be talking about a lot of fun things that have occurred over the past week. Like we had some guests that came on the show last night from Canada that were telling us about how they have been acquisitioned by the United States. So I'm going to be confirming that information and providing you with the facts and the details as to how that happened on Monday. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe as you come to the show. If you guys got something that you want to say, whether it's a special shout out to a friend or a family member, represent your country, your city, your state, your hood, throw those shout outs into the comments. If you would like to jump onto the show in real time, as long as it's appropriate, you can click the link, approve the mic, approve the camera, get onto the show in real time. Got to be 18 to be on the show, though. Beyond that, you guys of all ages can come and jump into the podcast, into the comment section. And we're about learning teaching, educating, enlightening, providing you facts and information about business, finance, and social interactions. So we got some knowledge, some this, and look, we're tagged on Wikipedia pages. I was like, wait, my channel has links to Wikipedia explaining the full dynamic of this channel. I was not expecting that, but we definitely are going places without knowing about it. So today we're supposed to be talking about some stuff because like I was watching earlier, because we talk about this, that, and everything in between on this and that. We don't just talk about one specific topic. We have a primary topic that we're going to talk about, and then we have a bunch of subtopics that we talk about. And sometimes they're all related, sometimes they're not. Sometimes we straw man into like a third or fourth generation topic where we're completely far away from what we started talking about. But we talk about everything that you need to know so that you can know what to do your own research. But before I started setting up today's show, I was looking into some stuff where Donald Trump is getting pissed off at Maine, up there on the top east side of the country, and talking about not funding Maine. So, we got to talk about that coming soon. And that's going to be in relation to the gender executive order. And we had a lot of people that were in debates in the comments as of late arguing about the fact that there's more than two genders, when I can't find the logic behind their thought process. Because from a scientific, and I've got a microbiology degree, so I'm sitting here trying to figure out like where do they get this knowledge from? Because genetically speaking, when you have 3 chromosomes, if one of them's a Y, you're a boy. if all of them are X's, you're a girl. And when they start talking about, well, what about if you got 2 X's and a Y, or 2 Y's and an X? And it's like, well, if you got at least 1 Y chromosome, that makes you a male, regardless of how it turns out, whatever kind of defect that occurs as a result of that. That's genetically what it is. People don't have to agree with that. It doesn't really matter how you identify yourself, because I can identify myself as a chicken. It doesn't mean that genetically, that if somebody was to take my DNA and break down the chromosomes, that genetically I'm a chicken. This is not the case. But I can identify myself as whatever I want, because First Amendment freedom of speech, you have the right to say whatever you want to say in this country, and you have a right to do whatever you want to do in this country, as long as you're not violating somebody else's rights, interfering with somebody else's safety, or damaging anybody else's properties. So those are the fundamental expectations of freedom in America, which it gives you a lot of responsibility, but it also gives you freedom from responsibility, because if nobody can take action against you, or if they can't afford to take action against you when you encroach on somebody else's rights, because there's a thin line between your right to do it and my right not to allow you to do it. A lot of times, some people are mistreated and they're pissed off about it. And because there isn't a resolution, you have the freedom to disrespect folk and walk away with it. Whereas in other countries, that wouldn't fly. But also with great freedom comes lack of security, because if you're not controlled by someone else, you're not able to be protected by that person. And I think that's one of the things in relationships where the women are angry about the man's requirement to protect and provide, because if he's protecting and providing, then ideally in order for him to protect you, you have to follow his instructions, and women don't want to be told what to do. They want to be irresponsible and the authority figure of their irresponsibility. And this is from a man's point of view, ladies. So if you disagree, please comment in the comment section. But from the fundamental expectations of, you can't tell me what to do, you're not my dad, the observation is that you want to have the freedom to do whatever you want, but you want to be protected when the situation gets out of your control. You also want to be in a situation where you have control over your situation to make decisions as to how you expect this situation to unfold, while not having the requirement to adhere to the responsibilities that come from having that type of control. And this is just a general census based off of our experiences with the ladies coming onto the show, as well as the ones that we've observed in a lot of the other podcasts. But today, that's not what we're talking about. Today, we're supposed to be talking about managing the risks, the risk management with the dating life. It's equivalent to your financial investments. So while we go through this, we're expecting a few people from yesterday to dive into the show, that we were talking about some stock options yesterday, the non-interest debt platforms. and where they located at, what companies have them, and what kind of investment opportunities are involved with those. So I did do a lot of research on that before the Today Show because I gave him my word. Usman, who was here yesterday, special shout out to Usman, Carl, Jesse, Nikki, Maya. Special shout out to Red Void, Danny Steffen, Omni 81, Reese Martinez, because you guys y'all keep coming to the show and showing us a lot of love and support. Max the Poser throwed us a lot one week, trying to take care of the podcast. We greatly appreciate him and his generous contributions, and so did Reese Martinez with his generous contributions. We appreciate that as well. Joe, Max's father, special shout out to a lot of the people that show us a lot of support. Oh, and for fixing the relationship from Ruderus, I got to give him a special shout out. He's working on exams this week. That's why he's not in here like he normally used to be. I cannot understand that. ICZIVOGOSCE. Is that a country? I don't know how to pronounce that. Is that Zivaskas? Special shout out to Zivaskas. I don't know who that is. OVDJE, Avdej. I'm probably saying this wrong. Type it in English text if you do Google Translator and drop it back in there so that because I might be able to understand some stuff in some languages, but I do not read every language. I can read, but not in every language. So if you could do me a favor, so I'm capable of giving you guys special shout outs and passing your messages right along. Be so kind as to throw at least the translation of it in English in addition to your native language. That way I can understand it too. But for anybody else who sees it, it's up there. If your comments are reasonably appropriate and in line with the discussion, I do put your comments up onto the screen. But if you guys do pay for the comments, as long as those comments are appropriate, the comments stay on the screen a lot longer, repetitively, and potentially ends up in shorts reels after the show, because we do a lot of shorts reels about the show after the show for many moons to come. So if you said something on this podcast, somebody's going to see it in either a long form or a short video later this year. So be careful what you say and how you say it. But yes, we were dealing with talking about different countries where they have the interest-free debt or non-interest debt companies. So I did a lot of research on those guys from before, and I appreciate you guys for showing me love on the podcast. I really thank you guys for that. So we're going to be bouncing back and forth between today's topic and yesterday's topic. Well, yesterday's topic was actually kind of somewhat what we're talking about today, but it's a little bit different because yesterday we were talking about the ability to achieve greatness in your relationships, and today is going to be a little bit different because today we're going to be doing risk management and assessing volatility while you're trying to decide, because yesterday we were talking about making the best move, and today we're talking about collateral damage and, like I said, risk management assessment. So definitely want to make sure that you guys like and subscribe, that you come through here, because you're probably going to see this plenty of times. We're going to be live pretty much every night of the week. We never take days off. We typically start at about 10:30 Central Time, which is 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, about 7:30 California time, 4:30 a.m. Greenwich time, and 4:30 a.m. for Universal Standard Time. So that's just about everybody all over the world. You guys can't miss us, but every day of the week we're here. We are not going to change our time slot for daylight savings time. So when the clocks move forward, we will move back. And that means that instead of us starting at Central Time at 10:30, we'd be starting at Central Time at 9:30. But for those of you that are Greenwich time and Universal Standard Time, it's still going to be 4:30 in the morning. So you're going to be able to see us every day of the week, probably first thing in the morning while you're having your coffee and eating your Cheerios, talking about how good Total is. We're going to be here every day of the week, talking about something different every day of the week. It's not going to be the same old. But join me as I take on the challenge of managing this risk assessment scenario in these dating platforms. And we're going to determine if we can actually level up the dating game in addition to our social finance. Now, recognize that risk management is often associated with finance, but What if I told you guys, Usman, look, I didn't even get it started. He's right there, Usman. Xander coming through with the full suit today, looking crisp. Hey, every day is a new day. I wear a different suit every day. I talk about a different topic every day. You'll never not see me in a suit. You'll never see me with my pants hanging below my belt line. You'll never see me with Jordans on. You'll never see me with a bandana hanging out of nothing. It's just, it is what it is. I was just telling the guys that when you got here, I was going to answer your question from yesterday because you were asking me about the interest bearing, the interest free debt platforms. So since you're here, I guess I'll start with that, and then I'll tiptoe back to today's topic because today's topic was pretty crisp. I just got started with it, so I didn't even get a chance to unveil it. I just told everybody it was going to go down because today we're going to be talking about risk management in relationships and being able to identify that in addition to being able to pay attention to risk management financially. So it's kind of going to be a twofer because we're going to partially talk about relationship improvements and red flag identifications, but we're also going to be talking about financial improvements and red flag identifications. So let me go ahead and give you what you were looking for because you came here first thing at the big top of the hour to get your information from yesterday. Now, the non-interest based debt companies are organizations that provide financial services and loans without charging interest on borrowed money, and that's something that you were talking to me about yesterday. So these companies offer alternative financing options that align with certain ethical, religious, and financial principles. So we have some types of non-interest based debt services like no interest loans, co-ownership equity schemes, and debt relief programs. So the no interest loans are loans that require repayment of only the borrowed amount without any interest charges as long as the borrower meets the loan's terms and conditions. The co-ownership is some companies that will offer unique programs where individuals can purchase homes through co-ownership agreements, avoiding traditional interest-based mortgages. And I'm assuming that's going to be in line with I'll buy your house for you and then you rent to own it from me. And as long as you agree to the terms and conditions, usually what happens with something like that, with a real estate, because that's like a deed trust that we have here in America, where they'll add a percentage to the price that they paid for the house. If you agree to pay that price, they're not going to charge you interest. You just pay for the house until you own it, or you can't afford to pay for it no more. But if you don't finish paying it off, they keep the house and all the money you gave them. The debt relief programs, while not exclusively non-interest based, some debt relief companies aim to renegotiate, settle, or change the terms of a person's debt to credit, where they're potentially reducing or eliminating the interest charge. So they talk the creditor into lowering the amount, and then if the creditor agrees to that, they charge it to you, then you pay them. After they take their fee out, what you're paying overall is less than what you would have paid with the interest charge, where you're still paying a fee, but you're paying far less than what you would have paid trying to do it by yourself. The characteristics of these to consider for those of you who don't know what it is, because Usman knows what it is. And don't worry, Usman, this is a short list because I only got like 3 pages. The limited avail, and I think 2 pages are the companies that you're looking for. So the explanation is less than a page, maybe a page and a half at the most. The limited availability is the non-interest loans that are not typically offered by traditional lenders and may have restricted use or eligibility criteria, which means that it's going to be only used under these circumstances, and the money is going to be pre-allocated for that purpose, meaning that you can't just borrow the money and do whatever you want with it. You have to put the money towards a specific thing. Otherwise, they're not going to give you that money. Alternative fee structures are scenarios where instead of charging interest, these companies may use different fee models or profit sharing arrangements to generate the revenue, where you might pay a $10 a month service fee for the thing, but it's not going to be compounded interest or anything like that. You could pay it early or pay it late or whatever, but the amount of money they're going to get every time you pay is the amount of money they're going to get. And that's how they make a profit on top of the money that they lent you. The compliance with ethical principles. Some of these non-interest-based debt companies operate in accordance with religious or ethical financial principles, such as the Islamic finance. Now, what that's going to probably imply, hypothetically, is that you're not going to see Stewie knocking on your shower door trying to get his money. Anybody who watched Family Guy and seen how he got his money out of Brian, you're probably not going to experience that because they have ethics now, which is far different than what you would have gotten in America. But you have careful evaluations where the no interest financing can be attractive, but it's crucial for borrowers to carefully review the terms and conditions, as there may be hidden costs or strict repayment requirements. And that's where the unethical part comes in, because they might not charge you interest, but they might expect you to pay back 3 or 4 times more than what you borrowed, which means that especially if you don't meet a certain deadline, which means that it's way worse than interest, because now you owe far more than what you borrowed. And if you don't pay them, they're taking something from you, whether it's your stuff, your health, your life, depending on the company that you're affiliated with and the officialness of that company when they're operating outside of legal ranges. Now, that's not these guys that I'm about to name, because these guys that I'm about to name should all be high-end, upscale, ethical, above-board companies. So I'd borrow from them. I would just have to look at exactly what they're expecting me to give them back in exchange for what they gave me, to determine if what I'm asking for is going to justify the end result. Because if I'm paying more money than I'm making, then it's not a good business deal. That's overall the truth of finance, is that if you're borrowing a certain quantity of money and you're going to spend more money than you make, that is a bad business deal. You should never borrow more money than you are profiting from. So the no interest based companies are also known as Islamic finance institutions, operate under and in accordance to Sharia principles, which prohibit the charging or paying of interest. While there aren't many purely non-interest based companies globally, several organizations are offering the Islamic financial products and services, such as Islamic banks. In these particular list of Islamic banks, you ready for this, Usman? We have Al Rahi Bank, ALRAJHI Bank. It's the largest Islamic bank in the world by assets, based on Saudi Arabia. As of February 21, the Al Rahi Bank currently has share prices of about $26.33 a share since February 17th, which is about 4 days ago. And the stock has shown a year-to-date change of $4.65% increase. They have announced the dividend payouts for this year from 2024, where the second half of 2024 is announced on January 29th of 2025, where the total amount was $1.56 billion in dividends, where they paid 38 or 39 cents per share to their investors, where they had a percentage dividend share value of 14.6%, which is almost at the same level of some of the real estate investment trusts that I was telling you guys about in America. And that was the second half of 2024. The first half of 2024, they had 1.3 billion, which gave them about 33 cents a share, which put them back to 12.5% at that time. So for the year, they had about 10.8 million, looking at almost $2.78 a share in cost, with a 27% annual share payout value. And that's just a lot to look at. Now, the next one, write this one down, Usman. Bank of London and Middle East. It's a UK-based Islamic bank. And for the most up-to-date, accurate information about this one, you're going to need to, let's see, check in with the London Stock Exchange directly, or contact the Bank of London and Middle East Investors Relations Department in order to get the accurate details on the pay scale of this particular bank. Another one is Gatehouse Bank. That's another UK-based Islamic bank. And for the most current financial information there, you're going to have to contact directly Gatehouse Bank in order to get the annual report. As of February 20th of 2025, Al Ryan, which is different from Al Ryan, ALRAYAN Bank, also known as Masarif Al Ryan, is the current share price of 66 cents a share, where their recent performance for year over year is a loss of 2.6%, and their dividend payout is about 28 cents a share, and their dividend yield for 2025 is estimated to be at about 4.96%, with a projected increase by 2026 to 7.3 or 5.73%. So an increase of another 1% roughly between 25 and 26. Now, another Islamic financial institution, Dubai Islamic Bank, one of the oldest, largest Islamic banks based on the United Arab Emirates. As of February 21st, Dubai's Islamic Bank, DBI, has a share of about $2.10, with the recent performance year to date as 1.32% increase for the fiscal year 2024, where the Dubai Islamic Bank dividends shares are 0.123%, or $3.123. So 12 cents per share. US dollars, because clearly Dubai is not using US currency, but I converted it to US dollars because I'm in America. I got to see how many American dollars I'm putting on each share. But if you're putting 12 cents a share down to buy shares, that means you're buying what? 100 shares is like $12. That's a lot. That's a lot of shares for a little bit of money. Now, which explains why they're so rich. But their forwarded dividend yield for 2025 is estimated to be 5.91% interest, with a projected increase to 6.9% for 2026. Now, Kuwait Finance, KUWAIT Finance House, is a major Islamic financial institution in Kuwait. As of February 21st, 2025, Kuwait Financing House has a current share price of $2.61, and their year to date is 7.91%. And for the fiscal year of 2024, they had cash dividends of 22% of the nominal share value, including the 10% distributed in the first half of 2024, with a suggested bonus of about 8% proposed and subjected to approval. Now, the dividend yields for 2025 for the Kuwait financing is about 2.36%, with a projected increase to 2.89%, which is about 0.5% between now and 2026. Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank. Hold on. He says, would you say that the first stock you mentioned is the best so far? Also, what app or website do I need to access someone could actually invest? Now, I have to do some more research on the fintech related to these particular companies, which ones are accessible in which locations. You're probably going to need a third party, because when I was doing the research on these, most of these countries, as I told you guys yesterday, if you're not a native in that country, you don't always have the opportunity to invest directly in those countries. I didn't think to go in there and figure out exactly which platform that you were going to be investing in to get there. I would start by looking at Stash, STASH, and see if they have it. Try Acorn And then from there, we will be looking at global fintech applications that does international investments, because any platform that is localized in international investments, or anything that is localized, is not involved in international investments. Anything that is working on international investments, you just got to upload the money to the app and then search for the particular stock, and then you will be able to invest in it. Now, to know if they do it, you take the bank name and potentially the trade code, like Abu Dhabi's Islamic Bank at ADBI. If you type that in there, the stock will pop up. Then you can invest in it. If it doesn't, then they don't service that particular stock. But I can do a quick check to find out where they are. Abu Dhabi, ironically, is the last one, because this is page 3. And Abu Dhabi has $16.68 in the Abu Dhabi fund. I didn't have time to convert that to specific cash. Actually, no, I think that is U.S. currency. $16.68. I just didn't change the denomination. And their performance is 3.2% increase, with a 21% increase for the last year. And Abu Dhabi has cash dividends of 27 cents a share, with a 4.48% estimated increase in 25 to 26, where in 2026 they're expected to have a 5.18% increase on top of that. So you want me to find out real quick the Al Rajhi Bank, which was the first one that we talked about, and you want me to see how do we invest in that bank. Let's see if I can find that out in real time. Stickler for not giving you the wrong facts. I like to know what I'm talking about before I advise, or not even advise, but like state, because I don't like to misinform people. I prefer for them to know exactly what they need to know to be successful, and then that way you guys can make the appropriate decisions. Let's see. Let's see. Two questions at one time. So investing in Al Rajhi stock, you would be able to use Al Rajhi's Capital app. This is the official app for Al Rajhi Capital. There's a brokerage service. So let's see. You have the let me throw these into the comment section for you. You've got the Al Rajhi Bank and then the mobile app. So these are the two places that you could potentially get what you're trying to get as far as investing in the first one. Both of the apps are available on iOS and Android devices, allowing you to invest in Al Rajhi Bank stocks directly through the company's own platform. You also may be able to use other brokerage apps that offer Saudi Stock Exchange. So what you'll be looking for is brokerage apps that work in the Saudi Arabia Stock Exchange. However, the official Al Rajhi Capital apps are likely to provide the most direct, comprehensive access to the investment. And one of the things that you're going to get from going in that direction is that it's probably going to give you less fees and less rates, because they get paid after somebody else gets paid, after somebody else gets paid. So if you're getting it directly from the source, the cost is going to be lower to get in there. And then the profits are going to be reasonably higher because you're going to have less fees. So that hopefully helps you out with what you were looking for. Feel free to throw down some more questions and comments about any other investment opportunities that you'd like to look into, like me to look into, because I'm always interested in figuring these things out. I think that that one, Al-Rahi being the best one in Saudi Arabia for the longest period of time, that would be the one that I would go for. But I'm also considering the fact that it might be the most expensive one out of the ones as far as share price value to purchase. But the payout is probably going to be way better. He said, regarding dividends, are they paying out once a year? Does it vary amongst different companies? Now, that is what I was doing the research on. These guys have a different pay scale, specifically because they're not charging interest. Because since they're not charging interest, they don't have a declaration of profits, which you're going to have to get that directly from the company. When out of the profits will they pay the shareholders? They're going to tell you that directly, specifically because it is not public knowledge as to how they move their money around, because they're lending a bunch of money to people, not charging anybody interest, but they're turning a profit off of a zero interest transaction. How they turn the profit off the zero interest transaction and how much of that profit you're entitled to, that's going to be in the terms and conditions of you investing in their stock option. So they should be able to tell you when you log in and sign up for the platform to start investing. They should be able to tell you how much the shares are worth, how often they're going to pay, how much they plan on paying so far. The payments are subject to change, but the payment date that an X quantity of dollars is supposed to be paid, that's what's going to get paid. How often do they pay? That typically depends. A lot of these companies are looking like, but I can't confirm, but they're looking like semi-annual, annual, and biannual payouts. Because if they're all of their payments, like 3 of the ones that I talked to you about, that we're talking about 20% of last year's profits, that means they're paying you this year for all the money they made last year, including quarter one, 8% bonus. So you gave them money in January, left it there all year, and now they're going to give you 20% with an 8% bonus, which is like 28%. But that 28% annually, which is good, but it just really depends on how much money you're putting down versus any transactional fees that you have to have. Also, while they have payouts in some of these companies, they have a lot of times that they hold the payout and increase the value of your stock option instead, where they're basically reinvesting the money back into the company for whatever reason, which means that you'll be entitled to a larger quantity of money when they do a payout. But there are some times where they can withhold that payout, but then compensate you with interest on the change. So we would have to do a lot more research on Al-Rahij if you want, in order for us to determine how much of that is profitable based on how much money you're putting down. But for the rest of you guys that are investing in America, I finished telling you guys about the real estate investment trusts that are out there. I'm throwing mine down, so we'll see. I'll be able to let you guys know percentage increases as time moves on. We're going to keep monitoring these things, and we'll be able to know exactly where the wins are. Why do companies pay dividends? If I'm borrowing money from you, I promise to pay you back with interest. That's where it comes from. They're essentially, when you buy shares, they're essentially borrowing money from you at an agreed upon interest repayment amount. So if I give you $100,000, you're going to give me back 20% interest. I'm going to make 20% interest as long as you're holding my money. 20% interest is typically paid annually. Some divide up the annual interest payments into compound monthly, where over the course of 12 months, it should equivalent the 20%, more or less, understanding variabilities. But the fact is that you're still supposed to be getting that. So if you're getting 20% of $100,000 where you're supposed to get 20 grand, and they're giving you anywhere between $8,000 and $12,000 a month until they give you the full 20 grand, or if they're giving you like $800 to $1,000 a month every month until they give you the full 20 grand. However you do the math, the fact is that you're expecting to receive on average between high months and low months for the full year 20% of the 100 grand that you gave them every year until you take your 100 grand back. That's where the dividends come from. Companies can reserve the right to return your money and no longer be in financial debt to you, but you got to read the fine print of the contracts in order to understand that. Nani. So dividends are interest payouts. The percentage of dividends is the interest payout. The dividends themselves is the profits from doing business. The money that's being paid back to the people invested in the company is out of the profits that were made out of the company. If the company doesn't make any profits, nobody gets paid dividends. If the company makes a profit, the investors make a profit. The percentage of profit each investor gets is based off of the dividend percentage. That's how that works out. So if me and a bunch of other people put up $100,000 a piece, and we're supposed to get 20% on the quantity of money that we invested, whether it's one share or 100,000 shares, the fact is that the 20% of 100 grand is what I'm supposed to get, because that is my quantity of contribution. Somebody else might get 20% of $1 million, and somebody might get 20% of $200. But if 20% is supposed to be dispersed to each individual person based on the quantity of contribution that they put up, then you are supposed to get that much money from them on a regular basis, where they should tell you if it's monthly, annually, semi-annually, or biannually. I never thought that there was a stock that was biannually up until like Tuesday of this week. And now I'm like, why would I put my money somewhere and wait 2 years to get money back? But, also I'm not used to being in a situation where I've got more money than I need. So I'm always looking for a way to generate more money so that I have more money to do what I need to do. So I don't need for nothing. All right. Now, since we conquered all of that, we're going to be looking at the risk management that is often associated with finance. But what if I told you that it could have a profound impact on your dating life as well? So think about it. Both involve making decisions with uncertain outcomes, and both can lead to significant loss if handled correctly, if not handled correctly. So I'm referring to the risk management in both finance and relationships. So let's explore how mastering risk management techniques can lead to greater success in both your personal and relationship life, as well as making sure that these financial investments are sound. Now, when it comes to dating, we've been doing it for a long period of time, and most of us have been doing it wrong, getting swept up in the excitement of new connections. The only downside is that we end up heartbroken when things don't work out, or maybe you're the type who's so cautious you barely take any risks and end up stuck in a rut where you never take a chance, and you kind of regret the fact that you've never applied yourself to anything for the fear of failure or the fear of inability to maintain success. Now, you ever wonder why you keep attracting the same type of partner, or why your relationship always seems to follow the same pattern? We've been talking about this for the last couple of months, when I tell you that if your type is a toxic type and your type ends up with unfavorable results every time you date your type, you should probably stop dating your type. You should probably start dating somebody that's not your type, because that might actually be what's best for you. But it's likely because you're not managing your risk involved in dating. Because if you're not managing the risks that you have involved in dating, you're probably going to allow yourself to lower your inhibitions, lower your expectations, and allow yourself to be involved in more detrimental and more catastrophic scenarios that you otherwise would have avoided if you were just a tad bit more responsible with your caution. We're not talking about CIA blood donation background check kind of situation. We're not talking about taking hair follicles and checking somebody's lineage. What we're talking about is like being responsible about these initial engagements and these initial communications. Usman says, thanks for all the research and sharing it too. I'm going to be referring to this live stream when it gets turned into a video to go over anything I missed. Bro, this live stream, Tuesday's live stream, last Tuesday's live stream, the Tuesday before that, we were talking about stocks. We were talking about stocks. We were talking about shares. We were talking about P&E values. We were talking about undervalued stocks, overvalued stocks, high valued stocks, short-term stocks, plastic stocks, just whatever you got to do. So these videos turn over on a regular basis. Within, I think, 8 to 12 hours of me going off the air, it is ready for, sometimes you could probably even download it off of the platform. I know that I gave you guys the opportunity to do clips. So it's a thing, really. And I know that the clips are going to come with watermarks for the podcast, but I know that you can get this information. But if you like and subscribe and hit the notifications on some of the videos, you can always come back, because I'm not taking these videos down. These videos are staying up here. So after I had to change over the podcast in November, all of the videos before August, I had to eliminate those because the direction of the channel went completely different. But as of right now, all of the videos that's been put up for the past 9 or 10 months, not going anywhere. So you'll be able to double back and look at each one of the videos that are related to business, finance, and investments, and you'll definitely be able to see any information that you would have missed, or any special shout outs or anything like that, or any details that I put on after you guys logged off. If something happened where you had to go, and when you came back, I'm talking about something else, you'll be able to see exactly what you missed while you were gone. And that keeps you in the loop. Then if you got any questions after the fact, if you're watching the show, the post-recorded show, the post-live show, and you have some questions related to the show that you're watching, you could throw comments in that show, and I promise you I get right back to you. So I try my best as it stands right now to try to respond to you guys within 24 to 48 hours. And when I see the comments thrown in the show, those that invest in the membership, they're going to get priority, and any information that I'm going to make exclusive for the members is only going to be able to receive those answers in the membership, where when individuals start asking me questions that my members paid for, I'm going to defer them to the membership in order to get that answer, because everybody else paid for it. You should too. But right now, if you got any questions that I have not restricted for membership access, you ask that, I give you answers. But I'm providing you guys with enough knowledge to far more knowledge than any seminar speaker. I'm providing you guys with far more knowledge than any mentor, than any professor that you have ever come across for free, because, it's public knowledge. So when I start putting a price tag on some stuff, you best know it's worth it. Because if everything I told you for free is worth it just for you to invest your time into listening to the channel to hear it, then by all means, everything I haven't said, far more worth value than what I've actually said on the live show so far. But I appreciate you really benefiting from the knowledge and information, because that lets me know that I didn't waste 12 hours of my day looking at stuff up for you. Because since this time yesterday till today, I had about 12 hours to gather all of that information in a clear and concise fashion for you. Moving on, we often take huge risks on our romantic lives, but hope for the best. And we also do this without a clear strategy or a plan B. Now, a plan B isn't having a backup plan such as another boyfriend or girlfriend on the side. It's not like having another alternative solution where if this relationship doesn't work out, you can fall back into this relationship. You can rebound into this relationship over here. That's not what it is. Having a clear strategy or plan B is when you're walking into what you thought was going to be hopefully a positive relationship, and you are able to navigate yourself as a plan B out of this relationship if it is not healthy for you, if it is not financially suitable for you, because you want to make sure that you are not making unnecessary sacrifices in this relationship. And it's not just finance and resource sacrifice. It is emotional sacrifice, psychological sacrifice, time sacrifice, effort sacrifice. If it is unnecessary for the total objective of successful relationship for this particular relationship, then you don't want to waste that. You want to put your time and effort into somebody that will value it so that you can benefit from that effort, because they will reciprocate with value towards you. We invest our emotions, our time, and our energy without considering the potential downsides. And when things go wrong, we're left reeling, wondering what hit us. Similarly, when it comes to financial decision making, unmanaged risk can lead to devastating consequences. So, look, I said devastating. It's devastating consequences. We've all heard the horror stories of people who've lost everything due to reckless investments or poorly thought out financial plans. And I got to tell you, when I was moving large quantities of money around today, I was sitting over here thinking, how much of it do I need to leave aside for active spending versus how much of it is liquidatable? If you miscalculate the quantity of capital that you have to invest, you may have to retract some of that capital from the investment. The problem that you also have with that is that certain investments, if you withdraw your money, you have early termination fees or penalties for taking your money back before the expiration date, which is a form of penalty for breach of contract, because you guaranteed that they would be allowed to hold your money for X period of time. In return, they would give you X number of dollars. Penalty in the contract states that if you take the money back before that, we'll give you the money back, but we're going to give you back less money. My homeboy put up almost $250 on a stock. Not a lot of money. They charged him 6% to take it back. He needed the money before the 12-month mark. They took more money from him than he made off of the stock. And he was investing in that like the largest majority of last year. He had a problem in November, pulled out of the stock. All the money he had earned over the year, they kept it and took more off the top out of the base principal because they charged him 6% on the withdrawal, not 6% of the profit. So they were supposed to be guaranteeing him off of a full 12 months, which he didn't do a full 12 months, that they would give him a 20% return minus 6% for the withdrawal. But if you put up a few $100s and a 20% return on a few $100 is less than a few $100, but they're going to take out 6% of the total quantity of money invested, like they just made a bunch of money off of your money and you didn't make shit. And I'm like, why? Hold on a second, guys. Regarding the plastic companies you mentioned in stream 2 days ago, how do I find out if they have any interest-based debt? They are not interest-based debt companies. How do you find out if they have debt that they're paying interest on? Most American companies are using interest-based debt. They are borrowing money against the stone so that they can make a lot of money. They stop owing money from places they borrowed from when they have a large quantity of investors investing in the company, because the investors pays off all the debt, and now the only person they owe is the shareholders. If I can go back and after the show and look into a few companies in America and see how many exist in the United States. But when I did the search that I did for today's show to provide you with that information, I was looking up worldwide how many companies existed anywhere in the world that were non-interest based debt. So most of them are in Saudi Arabia and the United Kingdom. None of them that I wasn't able to find any of them in the United States. The United States gets money off of money. This is making more and more sense, right? So you're not gonna, the United States, the United States is based off of capitalization, meaning taking advantage of. That's what capitalizing is, taking advantage of. Now, in business, you're either going to take advantage of the weak, you're going to take advantage of the poor, or you're going to take advantage of the stupid. It is what it is. In order for you to be successful, somebody else has to fuck up, because both of you are going to put something on the table, and one of you is going to profit off of it and the other one is not. That is capitalization. The US is capitalism on steroids. Oh, you don't know. We're stupid. We pay taxes every day because everything we buy has a sales tax. Then we pay taxes on the money we earn. Voluntary taxes. That's how stupid we are. We voluntarily pay taxes as if it's mandatory. So you're taxed on the money that you made. Then you're taxed on the money that you spent after you gave them taxes on the money that you made. And they only give you money back if you're too poor to pay taxes. Capitalizing on stupidity. So when I say this, like, it's not just like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna like put it in any kind of a fashion where people will like feel like I'm targeting them. Like, no, it's just the truth. Take, for example, if I'm selling a product for like $100, somebody else is selling that same product for $50. I buy out their product for the price that they're buying it for, then I sell my product for $75. I still make $25 an item off of your product that I bought from you that I'm reselling now because I'm the only person selling the product. The cost of doing business. Now, neither one of these people were ideally stupid. However, because you reduced your price so low that your competitor bought you out, you got paid whatever it is that you wanted for it, and they're going to make the difference between the value of that product in the market versus how much they paid you in the market. Now, some people make impulse buys, like those people who bought the cell phones for $10,000 off of eBay just because it had the TikTok app still accessible on it. Stupid. The person who sold a phone made $10,000 off a phone that wasn't worth $10,000. And now you can download TikTok app for free, not 30 days after that transaction occurred. So somebody who had a brand new iPhone something or other, or a brand new Samsung something or other, where the phone might have been valued at $400 to $800 brand new, they sold their phone on eBay for 10 bands, made a $900 profit or $9,000 profit off of selling their phone, went, bought them another phone. And just as sure as they buy the other phone, TikTok is here. So they can re-download TikTok to their new phone and they still have a $9,000 profit. That's what I mean by capitalism is either going to be taking advantage of the weak, taking advantage of the poor, or taking advantage of the stupid. Taking advantage of the weak is offering you way more than what you can provide for yourself in exchange for compensation for doing what I did for you, which puts you in a compromising situation, because if you can't do it for yourself, somebody else doing it for you for a nominal fee gets it done for you. But now this person is making more money off of you than what you would have had to pay doing it yourself. For example, insurances. Insurances is not to protect your stuff. Insurances only exist for them to make profits off of your fear of what if your stuff breaks. If you were financially responsible and you didn't buy overpriced shit, you would be able to take a little bit of money aside every month and put it somewhere and not mess with that money. Like, for example, the 8,000 plus financial institutions that provide you with 5 to 7% interest on your yields up to $500. And if you open up a bunch of different bank accounts and you put $500 in each one of those accounts, you would be making a shit ton of money off of money waiting for catastrophe to occur. So laptop crashes, go buy you another one, cash up front. Car crashes, go buy you another one, cash up front. Then you don't have to waste money, because think about if you're paying $20 a month for 2 years on a cell phone, or 20 months. If you're paying $20 a month for 20 months, you just paid over $400 for the insurance plan, then you're still going to pay $250 for the deductible, which is $650. If the phone is valued at $800, you're only $200 shy of just buying the phone cash up front, buying a refurbished phone cash up front, because that's all they're going to sell you in the warranty is a refurbished phone, which is actually only valued at like $400 to $600. But if you paid $800 for it, you could have saved that for 2 years. You could have followed some of my methods and made some money, make money for you. You would have had $1,000 extra by the time your phone needed to be replaced inside of 18 months. See, I don't have insurance on these $800 glasses. I just got 3 pairs. If one of them break, go buy another one. But I got 3 pairs. I got plenty of time for these bastards to break. Usman said, if you don't mind me asking, what's your age and academic background? You have very conscientious way of giving out information. Oh, very concise way of giving out information. All right. So I spent 8 years in college. It's microbiology, communication and health, and computer technology. I went to University of South Florida, which is the 5th best research facility in the United States. And I was actually going there for a pediatric surgeon, which required me to know a lot of information about law for malpractice suits, learn about medicine, learn about computers, because the internet was becoming a thing back in 2012, because it just came out in 2009. And I started college in 2010, finished in 2018. So that the fact is that over the full duration of time, you would see that anybody who goes to college is basically a career student when you're doing 8 years. And these are all majors. I had no minors. And going to college and spending so much time in college, you would find that if you look it up, if you do your due diligence with research, because everything is public knowledge, especially now that internet is widely used, there is nothing in life right now outside of people who are secretive that is not willingly posted online, and anything you post online is public knowledge. So you can research most stuff. The people you can't find on the internet are people who don't want to be found, but everybody else who could care less, you can find them. You can search for them. I told you this on a show a few weeks ago, matter of fact, just recently, within the last 30 days, how you could take somebody's government name and put it into Google and search, put it into Gemini and search, put it into Chat GTP, put it into Perplexity. You could search for people for free. It'll tell you who they are, how old they are, where they live at, what demographic they are, what voters status they claim to have, how many people are in their family, their income, where they stay at, how many properties they own, how many businesses they work for, how many companies they own. If it is listed somewhere as a public record, it is accessible. What their criminal record looks like. And you ask me what my age is, 41. So to be and for me to make it concise, that take 30 years of skills, specifically because I talk too much. I understand this, which makes being a podcaster excellent, because I can run off at the mouth for 3 or 4 hours and the people don't care. They just log off and log back on whenever they feel like listening to me again. But being detailed, that's something that comes with having too much knowledge. When you have more knowledge, then you have time to share it. You talk fast because you're trying to get it all out before people stop listening. And you try to say the important stuff first so that they maintain their attention span on the facts. And sometimes you say the facts so fast that you restate the facts 3 times inside of 10 minutes so that you make sure that they heard it. He said, talk about an education, but I do feel sorry for Americans because of the evil student loan system. No. Donald Trump just did away with the evil student loan system. And it's not really an evil student loan system. The problem that America has is that it capitalizes off of stupidity. Education is supposed to be free, but they privatized education. You have private schools that claim to give a better education. They don't. The prestige of the private schools are the people who graduated from the school and became successful. All of the people that graduated from the school and became failures, they don't talk about. But anybody who went to this college or went to this high school and then became successful thereafter, that's who they talk about in their school. And that's why their school has prestige. It's reputation, just like name brands for shoes, name brands for clothes. The difference between Jordans and Nikes is the little figure on the side of the shoe. The difference between Timberlands and a little work boot at Walmart is the word Timberland on the front of the steel toe boot. It is not better quality. It is not more durable. Jordans are not more effective basketball shoes than Converse. And it's not more effective than regular Nikes, regular high top Nikes. You understand? The fact is that people buy the brand. Now, when it comes down to colleges, though, the government is required to pay you to have a base level of knowledge, apparently. I don't know why that is, but that's why they pay for the kindergarten through 12th grade. Once you have the base general education, the base level of knowledge, it's your responsibility to get a higher level of knowledge, which is the four-year institutions that are private colleges. They have public colleges that operate off of a lesser amount, but it is still semi-privatized, which also means that if you want to get a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, that is something that you choose to get, which means that you got to pay for it. But the weird thing is that in order to promote the bottleneck into the educational system is every job after you get out of college requires you to have a bachelor's or master's degree with 4, 5, or 10 years of experience in the field in order to get that $30, $40, $50 an hour job. So since that becomes the expectation to get a better job is to have a piece of paper that says you're smart, everyone goes to college. Because they believe that if they go to college, just like people believe that cow's milk is good for humans, people believe that going to college will get you a better paying job. Come to find out, it doesn't give you a better paying job. It just puts you in a shit ton of debt, which is why we tell women all the time, your educational status does not matter, because you can be street smart and make me $1 million, and you will be more successful in your relationship. Instead of bragging about your PhD or your bachelor's degree, actually put some effort into making your family successful. You don't need to be rich. I know my mother stopped going to school in the 3rd grade and had a college education because she was doing my father's schoolwork in college, my sister's schoolwork in college, my brother's schoolwork in college. So she was able to aid 3 different college students with being successful without ever having to walk out of a high school. She had a college level education. All it takes for you to do what the black folks used to do before segregation was over is read a fucking book, and you will learn on your own. You don't have to pay a stranger to tell you what's in the book. If you just buy the book and read the book, you would save a few $100,000 a year. Let's just be honest. But for people who are too lazy to learn it on their own, they will sit there and listen to somebody explain it to them so that they don't have to read the book. So now I'm getting paid $30, $40, $50 an hour to summarize for you what the last 5 chapters of this book had to say, so that you could take some of the information that I gave you and utilize it for a generalized quiz where I'm just going to ask you trivial information just to see if you remember what I told you, give you an A on a piece of paper that is going to qualify you to go and pay somebody for college. None of that gives you skill set. None of it gives you field knowledge. You cannot take what you learn in a classroom a lot of the times, unless you're learning how to count, and really apply it to day-to-day operations. Ethics, philosophy, and math are like the only things that are directly incorporated into straight up, you can walk out of class and start using it today ideology. Everything else is just trivial information so that you can remember how this got created. Why is it a thing today? Why do we use it now? That's all you know. But can you do anything with history from the past besides analyze foresight? No. Your critical thinking skills are not taught in school. It's taught through me, but it's not taught in school. Your critical thinking skills are tested in school. If you don't learn critical thinking skills, you just don't pass your class. It is what it is. Usman said, I called the loans evil because of the interest part. It's a profit. I'm lending money to somebody who's too poor to pay for their education. Remember, I told you capitalism is based off of taking advantage of the weak, the poor, and the stupid. Student loans are going to provide money to poor people so that they can become smarter. So you're capitalizing on stupid poor people. Healthcare, they're charging interest on top of interest when you're dealing with the borrowing against your life insurance. All of this is the same. the same premise. They're capitalizing on the weak, they're capitalizing on the poor, and they're capitalizing on the stupid. That's where capitalism comes from. Because poor people will work for free when their work is more valuable, so that they can gain experience in it, so that they can get qualified for a better paying job using a reference. You're profiting off of their work, but you're not going to pay them. I see you. I haven't forgotten about you. I'm coming right there. You put it up there the other time. You want an editor, R7S. Special shout out to R7S. Oh, and look, I'm over here talking to him and didn't recognize him. Zach Miller. Special shout out to Zach Miller. I think college is a Jewish scam. That's why I get all my info from Snapple Caps. I can't say that that's a Jewish scam. I can say that it's definitely something new that people don't pay attention to, is that college, because you could pay a professor $75 or $100, $200 an hour. Or you could pay somebody like me, depending on what it is, to give you the same knowledge, or you could just go find it yourself. The cost of get the materials is cheaper than paying somebody else who already has the materials to explain it to you. A lot of times you might need some help with understanding it, and then if you pay somebody like me to explain it to you so that you can understand what you're looking at, that's the only difference. He says, so you want an editor. So what are you editing? Because, I actually use Opus Clip to edit a lot of my videos. I've got links to Opus Clip in a description if you guys are interested in video editing and do it on the fly. Drop a 4-hour video in the Opus Clip, walk away, come back, and I've got like 60 edits of top topics and subjects out of my entire conversation. Take out all the valuable topics. vidIQ is doing thumbnails. He wants thumbnails and shorts. vidIQ is doing actually vidIQ's got annual memberships right now. I've got an annual membership with vidIQ as well, and an annual membership with StreamYard, where vidIQ is doing thumbnails, where all you really got to do is put the topic of your video in there, or if you utilize uploads, you can upload the video into vidIQ and put the topic of the video in there, one way or the other. So there's a manual, and then there's a link update, and if you put that into vidIQ, which that link is in the description as well, vidIQ will produce like 4 thumbnails at the beginning. You can type in there what to change on it, and it'll shift the images to something that you might be more approving of. You'll notice that a lot of the thumbnails that I've been posting over the past 90 days, I've been utilizing those thumbnails from vidIQ. Also, topic titles, subject topics, the description box is all information that I would utilize from vidIQ. In addition to the if you scroll down below all of those links, the keywords search, the hashtags, got all that stuff from vidIQ as well. Outside of the mentioned list, where I researched a large quantity of profiles that are reasonably appropriate in line with the stuff that I talk about, I added those guys in there so that they could swing by and take a look at what I got going on my channel. And that's probably the only thing I didn't get from vidIQ. But yeah, you got got a lot of stuff going on. Opus Clip, as far as video editing, it does have a little bit of a financial challenge, but it is cheaper than paying somebody to do it, because you can spend you could probably get at this point, you could probably get about they do about 360 credits for a little under $100, like $175, or 3,600 credits would give you about 3,600 minutes of video editing time, unless you're doing the AI adaptation with Opus Clip. And if you utilize that, it would potentially, because they're supposed to be changing it to a 2-to-1 for the AI clip anything, where 3,600 credits would get you like 1,600 or 1,800 minutes worth of video editing, where you shrink the quantity of video based on the end-to-end that you don't want in there, and then it'll find everything of relevance by typing into Opus Clip exactly what you want it to find, and it'll find it. And then you just select the frame styles and then submit it. It allows you to add voiceover. They just updated it where I think you can add soundtracks to it. There's a lot of stuff going on with Opus Clip right now. So between StreamYard, Opus Clip, and vidIQ, that's like my trifecta for running this podcast. You can download all the videos or schedule them if you have the membership. If you schedule them to be released directly from Opus Clip, so you don't even have to waste your time with video editing. That gives you the ability to just let everything pop up from Opus Clip. It does with the membership 100 gigabytes of save space that doesn't get deleted within 30 days. So you can post videos up there and schedule them to be released. And, depending on how many of them that you're going to have, you can have some sit up there and wait 30 days and some of them wait up there 6 months. Whatever you're trying to do as far as getting all that stuff done. I typically take rotate them out like produce, and take the most recent good ones and put up there, and then take the or use the oldest ones first, and then rotate them out, so that I've always got something coming from before that's still relevant to like most recent times, so that people are like, oh snap, and a lot of times I like when some of my shorts reels or my lives, not my lives, my long forms are synopsis of one another, where the trailer is related to the main video, and the main video sublets you to another video that's similar in topic. Like, I like it when I can manage to pull something like that off. So, I like the way I'm always good for having more workers on a table, but I kind of got to make sure that it makes money for me, because I can invest in certain things, but I'm supposed to be able to turn a profit from the effort, because if I'm not turning a profit, then it's a loss. You benefit not only by turning a profit money-wise, you turn a profit, like, for example, since we're doing a YouTube channel, if the effort generates more views and the increase in views generates more revenue, the revenue received from the views actually gives you more profits to pay people that are helping you increase sales. So I had somebody that came in that was an SEO specialist, and he wanted me to pay him, I think, $100 for 7 videos, where the videos were producing $70 of profits. I'm like, bro, if it's not making more money than it's costing me to pay you to do it, then really all you're doing is increasing my viewership. But I got to pay you $30 a month or $30 a week to do that. That's too much. And somebody's going to say, well, $30 isn't a lot. Well, shit. If you're making $70 a week off of my video, and I'm going to pay you an extra $30 a week on top of that video, and I still got to pay 30% on taxes on the money that I made off of this channel altogether, that $30 is 30% of the $100 that came in on the podcast. Nah, that's too much. That's too much. If I'm not making 20 to 25% of what you brought in and you get the rest, that makes sense. But if I'm not making 20 to 25%, I'm not doing it. That's a bad investment. Now, Usman's asked, cow's milk is bad for humans. Yes, it is. Cow's milk is definitely bad for humans. Let's talk about biology real quick. We talk about this, that, and everything in between. The respiratory system of the human body takes in oxygen. The oxygen atoms divide up into isomers. You have one that turns into lactose and lactate. The other one continues through the respiratory system and generates NADH, and then it goes through the respiratory system that produces the ATP. The ATP goes through the body, and that's the energy that the muscles use to function. That's the energy that is used to get you up out of bed every day. But lactose shuts down the respiratory system. It is a triggering mechanism that causes your body to stop producing. So when you're drinking cow's milk, you're drinking lactose, which is why people say, oh, I'm lactose intolerant. Cow's milk intolerant. I'm intolerable to cow's milk. People are switching over to almonds, soy, which is not necessarily really milk in and of itself, it's not a dairy. It's just like a liquid form that's like a milky looking thing, almost like coconut water. But the fact is that we've been talking about GMOs. GMOs is genetically modified organisms. And while people are no longer chasing the I don't want GMOs thing, everything has a GMO in it. If you go to the grocery store and you go buy a gallon of milk, it is infused, genetically modified with vitamins and minerals that doesn't naturally come in cow's milk. And then when you think about the 2% milk and the 1% milk, that means that 2% of this gallon is milk, or 1% of this gallon is milk. The rest of the gallon is not milk. I would want to say that it's water, not 100% sure, but I know it's not milk, because 2% of the container is milk. 1% of the container is milk. So 98 or 99% of the container is not milk. Whole milk is the whole container is milk. That's one of the things that we talk about, like the whole container is milk. And that means that if you are consuming whole milk, you're consuming the lactose, and people are not going to be, their bodies are going to shut down from that. So the older you get, the less fun digesting cow's milk becomes. Now, humans are good with breast milk, but we think that consuming breast milk as adults is gross. It's supposed to be just for the babies. But human breast milk for babies is better than cow's milk and goat's milk. And human breast milk, because it's made from humans for humans, human breast milk as adults would probably be better for you than cow's milk or goat's milk. We don't think about it like that. But that's just really the way it is. So as gross as it is, if you're going to make a White Russian, you might as well use a White Russian. Because if you take her milk and mix it into that alcoholic beverage, two things. One, it's going to taste better. And two, it's healthier for you. And three, you're still going to get drunk. So make sure that you guys like and subscribe. We touch base on a lot of topics around here, on this and that. We talk about this, that, and everything in between. You said you talk too much. Did you ever get a whooping as a child for talking too much? No, because I was raised from childbirth that snitches get stitches. So we don't snitch. We don't talk. As kids, we had a thing called shut up. Kids don't like that these days. As youngins, young adults, teenagers, jits, they don't like being told to be quiet. That's why you got these females right now in their mid-20s, early 30s talking back to folks, don't tell me what to do kind of stuff, enough to get their teeth knocked out their mouth. Because back when we was chillins, if the adults was talking, you don't speak. You don't disrespect adults, even if it's not your adult. So it don't got to be your mom and dad and your relatives or nothing like that. If that person is older than you, you speak when you're spoken to. That's called respect. You answer them when they ask you a question. That's called respect. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Excuse me. May I please be allowed to leave? That was how we was taught in the 80s and 90s, in the early or late 70s. That's how we was doing it back in them days. Now they don't want to talk to you. The kids just get up and walk off. And you allegedly can't do nothing to them. Snatch them by their head and knock their weave out. They're going to be sitting over there mad. Oh, well, what you doing that for? Because you got to understand, y'all not supposed to be disrespecting one another like that. Y'all not supposed to be disrespecting your elders. And if you take that to adulthood, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to get your head snatched off as an adult, talking back to somebody. You're going to get fired off of a job. You're going to get kicked out of school. You're going to lose out on the business deal. You're going to get attacked with road rage on the side of the street by either the other driver that you was cussing out or the cop that gets involved. It's never benefits from you. But to answer your question, no, I have never been in a scenario where I said too much to my parents and led me to get knocked down. Have I talked too much to the teachers? Yes, I have. But when my parents asked me what I did and why I did it, I didn't have enough words to explain to them exactly what happened. And more often than not, I was not wrong. And I made sure that I was not wrong, because if I'm about to get in trouble with the school, I at least need to not get in trouble at home. That way I'm not catching 5 ass whoopings because I didn't do what I was supposed to do in school. So yeah, I try my best to make sure that, we do. And I teach everybody that on the podcast, or at least I try to hold yourself accountable. First person accountability. You have to know the rules in order to know what rules you can and cannot break. And, while people say rules are made to be broken, you must accept the consequences of the actions before you perform the action. So if you know that this could end well, if the consequences could be jail time, if the consequences can be fines, if the consequences can be probation with probation officers and drug tests and all the suspension of licenses, loss of voting rights, loss of your Second Amendment right to have a firearm, eviction from your house, all this other stuff that could happen to you if you're making this type of decision, and you still want to make that decision. It is what it is, but don't come back to me and say, oh, woe is me, my life sucks because this happened, that happened, or the other happened. You chose that. That is why you're in that situation. It's not me that did it to you. It's not the system that did it to you. It's not Donald Trump that did it to you. It's not the Democratic Party that did it to you. It's not China or Canada that did it to you. You did it to yourself with your poor decision-making skills. So with the vast quantity of knowledge, and I was gifted when I was a child. So, I had a lot of knowledge under my belt. And I would talk my way into trouble with the teachers. But when I got home and I explained to my parents about how the teacher wasn't smart enough to know what was going on, and I taught the teacher was insulted by that, and I got in trouble for teaching a teacher, my parents would come to the school and threaten the teacher's safety. I was taught when I was growing up, don't say what you don't mean. We weren't taught not to curse. We were taught not to use words that you don't know, that you cannot use in a sentence, a complete sentence. So before you say it, you must know the word, know the definition of the word, and use it properly in a sentence. Otherwise, you're not allowed to say that word. Didn't matter what it was. Didn't matter what it was. So then if I was able to analyze a situation of I'm about to say something. Well, I know I'm going to be a little bit risky, but I know that I'm not going to break any of the school rules because this isn't a word that is not allowed to be said in school, but it is going to piss off the teacher. If I know I'm going to piss off the teacher, but I'm going to say this word anyway, I'm going to say it. Then when I say it and the teacher gets pissed off, I'm satisfied that the teacher's pissed off, but I will not get in trouble with this in the long run. I use the word in a sentence, use it accurately, piss off the teacher, get a good laugh out of the class, take a couple days off. I'm an honor student, so it doesn't matter. Go back to my house. I'm watching TV, playing video games, and not worrying about nothing, because when my parents come to me and ask me, what did you get in trouble for? I taught my teacher that the word bogus means fake, and I use it in a sentence by saying that the teacher's level of knowledge is bogus. The teacher's educational skill set is bogus, and the teacher does not understand what the word bogus means when the teacher is an English teacher teaching English words in an English class, and I think that in itself is bogus. My parents said, well, he knows the word. He's using it in 4 sentences correctly. And it's not a profane word. So I don't see what the teacher's getting mad about. But I insulted the teacher's skill set, knowledge set, and capabilities to perform their job without breaking any rules. Now, get some of these YNs out here and they cussing the teacher out and talking about their mama and all this. You ain't got to do that. Go find you 12 educated words and talk to your teacher on an educational level. It's a nasty nice where they will feel devalued because you're using words they don't even know. Aha, you half their age and you know words they don't even know. I'm telling you, that's how it works. Usman said that's how people crash out. Also, people are not developing enough soft skills in the digital age. They're not developing many skills in any age outside of how to kill, because with the video games, they're learning how to race and they're learning how to kill. That's all they're learning. They're learning how to spend money too. So let me change. I'm going to add to that. They know how to spend money too, because they got to buy the DLCs. They got to buy the game. They got to pay for the membership. They got to pay for online status, but they're not learning how to make money. They're not learning how to turn a profit off of that. Some kids are able to sell their World of Warcraft account and make a little bit of money off of that. But I mean, you got to put in like years of work and get your player to a level 99 or a level 200 or a level 999 in order for you to sell it for somebody to buy it for $10,000. But you probably pay almost as much to get the account that high for them to buy it off of you. It's almost like restoring an old classic car. You probably put 90% of the money into the car that equates to the current value of the car. So the car might be a $70,000 car from like 1960, but you probably put $60,000 into the car or $65,000 into the car to get it that way. So for them to pay you $70,000, you only made like $5,000 or $10,000 worth of profit. So what you do is you get you one of those $1 million insurance policies and you hope somebody crash into that sumbitch so that they can total it out and give you $1 million for the car. That way your $65,000 investment turns out to be $1 million profit. It is what it is. Kicked out of school and watching Cartoon Network or Power Rangers at home. Yes, exactly. No, it wasn't just that. You had Pee-wee's Playhouse, you had Cabbage Patch Kids, you had Lamb Chops Play Along, you had what was Eureka's Castle, you know, the Dragon Tales. They had all kind of stuff that was during the middle of the day. All educational television. So you could get kicked out of school, sit at the house, and binge watch educational television until time for school to let out, because they don't put the inappropriate cartoons on until you get out of school. So like 2 hours after school lets out, that's when you got Recess and Ed and Eddie and you know, Rugrats and Beavis and Butthead Do America. Like that kind of stuff happened after you got out of school. During school hours, it was ABC Network all day long, BBC, the educational channels, like nothing but learning stuff. And you be sitting there watching that till you go back to school. Probably learn more stuff at home than what you learned at school. It's reckless like that. So back to the main topic. If we approached our financial decisions with the same level of caution and strategy that we would use in, say, a business venture, wouldn't it be more likely to achieve long-term success and stability? Mastering risk management in dating means being aware of your own emotional vulnerability, recognizing red flags, and having clear plan for navigating uncertainty situations. And it means not getting caught up in the emotions of the moment, but taking a step back to assess the potential risks and rewards. With its approach, you're going to be more likely to attract healthy, fulfilling relationships that align with your values and goals. Now, by applying risk management principles to your investment decisions, you can similarly avoid costly mistakes, diversify your portfolio, and ensure more stable financial futures. You'll be able to make more informed, data-driven decisions rather than relying on emotions or gut instincts, because gut instincts are usually good for those people who have the ability to analyze information in their head without even thinking about it. But it's going to be based off of the information you've come across in the past that you still remember, that your gut tells you this is the direction that you can go. So instead of rolling the dice with no rational explanation for it, or just doing it because you feel good about doing it this way, you can literally analyze the data and come to understand that this is the most effective and most appropriate way to accomplish your goal, which allows you to be the most successful that you can possibly be in that activity. And as you do this, you'll start to notice a significant shift in your financial success. One of the key aspects of risk management in dating is open communication about potential risks. Discussing past relationships, sexual history, and health concerns with your partner is crucial for managing sexual risks. This communication not only helps in preventing health issues, but also builds trust and intimacy in a relationship. So you don't have to worry about somebody coming and letting you know that they've got HPV, mono, HIV, something like that after y'all done it. You ain't got to come and tell you that they got gonorrhea, herpes, syphilis after y'all done already done it. You ain't got to tell you that, oh, I'm pregnant after y'all done already done it. They could kind of let you know those things before y'all get started so that you can make the conscious choice. Do I want to be involved in that? So, I mean, if you've got 3 to 5 genders that you want to claim, you might want to talk about that at the beginning of the relationship so that you guys have a clear understanding that you swing every way that can be swung. Your approach to dating is heavily influenced by your personal risk tolerance. So some individuals are more comfortable taking risks, such as pursuing long distance relationships or quickly becoming exclusive, while others prefer a more cautious approach. Recognizing your risk tolerance can help you make decisions that align with your comfort level and relationship goals. In dating, risks can come in various forms, including emotional risks involving fear of rejection or failure, physical risks, including your sexual health concerns, financial risks when you're dealing with shared expenses, and social risks when you're dealing with the impacts on your friendships or work relationships, because your spouse can cause you to sabotage your bonds with your friends and family members or jeopardize your work relationship with your employer based on their ability to convince you or coerce you, either directly or indirectly, to change the way you behave in front of your network, which changes the way they treat you because of the change in your behavior, which leads them to no longer be in favor of your position because you are no longer beneficial to their expectations of you, which negatively impacts you, not the other person. By identifying these risks early, you can develop strategies to mitigate them, such as setting boundaries, my non-negotiable expectations for behavior, practicing safe sex, or maintaining financial independence. Where you spend your money on your needs, I spend my money on my needs, and then whatever we have left over, we can negotiate as to how we're going to invest that. I know I'm investing my half. I don't know what you're going to do with your half. While it's important to be aware of risks, remember that taking calculated risks can lead to rewarding relationships, but being overly cautious might cause you to miss out on potential great connections. Strive for a balance between protecting yourself and being open to new experiences. Regularly assess the health of your relationship. Usually monthly is a fair say, because not a lot of stuff can happen in 30 days. A lot of stuff can happen, but when you start talking about positive change and improvement, it takes a lot of time for positive change and improvement to occur. It's instantaneous for catastrophic failure to occur. But if things are okay and they could be better, but they're not, it takes a while to kind of level that up a little bit. But if things are fine and you want to fuck it up, yeah, it doesn't take nothing to do that. So you want to regularly assess your health, the health of your relationship, and you want to make sure that you address any issues that arises. Now, this ongoing evaluation gives your partner the ability to tell you what's on their mind so that they can't say that you are ignoring their thoughts and their feelings. They can't tell you that they didn't know, because you guys should have talked about it at least once every 4 weeks, if not once every other week, if it is a situation that needs to improve and you're monitoring the lack of improvement. So as you guys evaluate this, it can help you identify the potential problems early, take corrective actions before they escalate into catastrophic failure of the relationship. Now you're going to build resilience, and this can help you bounce back from dating setbacks. This includes developing a strong sense of self-worth, maintaining a support network. Fellas, we do not have a support network. We need to start building one. We don't necessarily need a shoulder to cry on, because men aren't supposed to cry, but we definitely need to be able to vent and have people there to remind us that we have an obligation to ourselves and a responsibility to ourselves to get our ass off the couch, take a shower, get back out there and start life over. Because if the shit didn't work out the way it was supposed to work out, us wallowing in pity at the house is not going to do anything other than waste time and allow us to dwell on the past when life is still going around us. You are not going to make money for you if you are making the choice to stop living life while big money moves is happening without you. You need to get out there and go make your damn money. Now, in addition to support network, you need to learn from past experiences. So by applying these management principles to your dating life, you can make more informed decisions, build healthier relationships, and increase your chances of finding a compatible partner. Now, remember, the goal is not to eliminate all risks, but to manage them effectively for a more fulfilling dating experience. To gauge the volatility of your partners, what you want to look for is the emotional instability, frequent mood swings, intense anger outbursts, or disproportionate reactions to minor events. That is a massive red flag. You want to pay attention to that, and then you want to act accordingly. Communication issues, when you're extended periods of not talking, the being ghosted by your partner, arguments that escalate quickly or last for days, and an unwillingness to communicate openly, all red flags that you need to be able to address effective immediately. Unpredictable behavior, such as you feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells or checking their mood before interacting, where you're afraid to behave or be yourself because you're afraid of how your partner is going to react or respond to that. Fellas, you got to cut that nonsense out. If you are not confident in being you around her, you're going to have to get rid of her and get another her to be there so that she can encourage you and support you in being yourself. Controlling tendencies. There are attempts to isolate you from your friends and family or dictate your choices and behavior when they're telling you you can't see the people you've known your whole childhood. You can't go talk to your mom and them. And, they make you feel bad to leave the house without them, where they have to monitor where you are and who you're with and what you say and who you say it to. That's too much. The difference between having somebody do that to you as a man versus as having a man tell you when it is not appropriate to wear a skirt that's too short when you're planning on going somewhere and getting drunk, as opposed to, not allowing you to go talk to your mama because your mama don't need to know what's going on in the house kind of situation. You really understand the difference between controlling versus responsibly protecting you. And if you don't know the difference between the two, you've probably been traumatized by somebody controlling you. Or narcissistically, you've only controlled people, so you don't know how to be responsible for somebody else's safety. And the fear of them recognizing that you're controlling them causes you to control them more so that you can micromanage their behavior. Think about that. Now, the lack of empathy is going to be another issue. The inability to understand or care about your feelings while demanding empathy for themselves, is going to be an issue. So if they could care less about you, but they want you to care about them, that's a problem. Ladies, you got to remember that everything you expect a man to do for you, you must be willing and able to do it for him. And you must also do it for him. You can't just come out of the woodwork and say, oh, well, I would, but nah. You want him to buy you a car? Buy him a car. Think like that now. You want him to buy you an engagement ring? Buy him an engagement ring. You want him to pay for the wedding? You pay for the wedding, let him pay for the honeymoon. Figure it out now. I'm not talking about egalitarianism. I'm talking about mutual treatment, uniformity. Now, there's a blame shift issue. If you see any of these things, you got to cut and run. But there's a blame shift issue when they're refusing to take responsibility for their actions and consistently blaming others. This is why I tell you guys, this podcast enforces first person accountability. You take responsibility for yourself and your decision-making process. You take responsibility of how your decision-making process affects the people around you. And then thirdly, you take responsibility for the decisions that you allow to be made in your presence that impact your objectives. So if you allow somebody next to you do something stupid that gets you in trouble, that is your fault, because you should have either stopped them or left before they did it so that you would not be involved in the outcome. Standing there watching with your cell phone out, recording it, you are part of the problem. You are not part of the solution. I ain't saying that if the police out there beating somebody's ass that you shouldn't record that. You should record that. Not only should you record that, you should try to find out who that was that got arrested so that you can submit the video evidence to the courtroom under their name so that the court got record of how they got their ass whooped out there by the police. You should be able to because think about every action that law enforcement does has an incident report. So if you know somebody just got arrested and where they got arrested at, you can call local law enforcement and get an incident report on the actions that you just saw. Get an incident report on it. And then you'll be able to follow that incident report. It's public record. You'll be able to get information as to who went to jail. You don't necessarily get to find out what police officers are involved, but they are on the incident report. Especially if you can get it unredacted, and then you can contact the defendant, the suspect that was apprehended, and get their email information and be like, hey man, I was recording that night when you got knocked up. You know, I got some video footage you could use for your case. And yeah, because it's wrong to stand there and watch somebody get their ass whooped, or at least that's what people say. But if you ain't started, you ain't supposed to be getting in it. Now, another thing that we know that's an issue is gaslighting. And a lot of narcissistic people use gaslighting so much to deflect from taking responsibility for their own shit. But gaslighting is making you question your own sanity or judgment. Nobody's supposed to be second guessing who you are, or no, they should not be convincing you to second guess who you are. If their information is different from your information, it's just different. You accept it and move on. Substance abuse, always a problem. Reoccurring issues with alcohol and drugs that affect the relationship. This is different from, social drinking, social smoking. You smoke, you'll smoke. Whenever you smoke, you'll smoke. We're not saying that drugs is bad. What we're saying is that doing so much of it that it negatively impacts your relationship, like getting DUIs, getting DWIs. They are the difference. Driving under the influence, driving while under the influence of narcotics. You got two different. One was done for just being drunk. One was not being drunk, but being intoxicated from medication. So there's two different ones. You got a DUI and a DWI, but the difference between the two is that you're still going to jail. You're still losing your driver's license. And now somebody else has to start driving you around. Or if they add your driver's license to their insurance goes through the roof. Those types of decisions that negatively impact the relationship, that's what we're talking about. Using drugs or selling drugs and then getting arrested for it. Now you're on probation. Now we got to pay for the probation officer. We got to pay for the probation. We got to pay for the drug testing. We got to pay for the servicing of this ankle monitor. We got to pay for the breathalyzer on the car. This kind of stuff that costs us the family money. These are the bad decisions that I'm talking about when I say this. I'm not saying that you can't get your smoke on. You can't pop your bean. You can't go meet Miss Molly. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that when you're doing so much of it that it causes you to have negative experiences in your household, that's when you're doing too much. You need to cut that shit out. And then think about the cost implication of that, because if it costs that much to do it recreationally and you're doing so much of it that you're getting in trouble for it, you're spending too much money already on unnecessary bullshit, and that leads you to having to spend more money on the consequences of spending too much money on unnecessary bullshit. Make sense. I just want to throw that out there. Inability to handle stress. Let me pause on that real quick. Usman said, from what I've seen, some ladies are often not solution oriented. Instead of finding a practical solution to a problem, they would rather vent. More often than not, and that is a good point, Usman. More often than not, women want recognition because their feelings are hurt. They want validation that it's not their fault, even if it is. They want a lack of accountability. They also want to be able to cry about there's a problem so that somebody else can volunteer to resolve the problem for them, so that they don't have to be indebted to the person because a person volunteered. If I crash my car and you offer to fix it, now I don't have to pay to fix my car. If I crash my car and then you say it's not my fault, it's your fault because of whatever, because you're trying to make me stop crying, now you're paying for my car. But if I fucking crash my car, I'm supposed to pay for that shit. It's first person accountability. If I borrow your car and I crash your car, you're not going to make excuses for me and say, oh, it's not your fault, it's my fault, I didn't do such and such maintenance on the car. No, you knew what condition my car was in when you took it. And you brought it back in pieces. You're going to put it back together or you're going to replace it. That's first person accountability. But a lot of the times in relationships, which is one of the reasons why I say that you can't get back with your ex. When your ex up and leave 70 to 90% of the time, it's the woman. That person did not change because they deflected their responsibilities in a relationship onto the person that they left. They did not believe that they did anything wrong. They believe that you are the problem. So if they come back, since you were the problem when they left, you will still be the problem when they come back because they did not change. If you believe that you were not the problem, if you believe that the person that left was the problem, just because you still love them or think that you love them, you lust for them and you just miss having sexual engagements with them and you want them back. They haven't changed because they thought you were the problem. You haven't changed because you believe they are the problem. Just because y'all miss fucking each other doesn't mean that y'all can come back together in a new relationship, because it's not a new relationship. It's just time in after a timeout. And, round two, the second half after the Super Bowl video. And then after they make you feel bad like Drake felt after that Super Bowl video, y'all come back together. And the exact same shit that y'all had to fall out the first time is going to be the exact same shit that y'all going to have to fall out the second time. The only difference is the second time around, the stuff that they didn't do out of spite, they're going to do this time. It's going to be worse the second time around. Anything they did not say because they just kind of felt bad, they were reserved, showing mercy, any drastic actions that they didn't do, and this is men and women alike, that they didn't do the first time they was with you, them thoughts that they went through their mind, oh, I should have shared this, I should have done this, I should have did that. That's exactly what they're going to do the next time you do whatever it is, or the next time that they experience whatever it is that caused y'all to have to fight the first time. So if they didn't fuck you up the first time, they will fuck you up the second time. So it's not good to get back with your ex. But yes, we have this issue where there are some, not all, there are some ladies that do not have a solving the problems skill set. They are in no way, shape, or form support. They give you a problem that has no solution. Every solution you come up with has a negative response to it, as if nothing will work. And I usually tell them, hey, if nothing will work, then you just need to give up on life, because there is always another way. There is always another way. And I tell you this on the podcast all the time. Just because you may not want to do it that way doesn't mean that there isn't another way. The probability of success is higher if you try something different. There will be no success if you refuse to do anything different. And I myself disassociate myself with people that are too stupid to learn from their own mistakes. They'll trail right out. They'll be, oh man, I ain't talked to you in forever. Yeah, because you ain't had your shit together since I met you. I've known you for years. I take chances and make mistakes and get messy, Darkwing Duck. But at the same time, I learn from my mistakes and I evolve. Not a lot of people can do that. Some women are Sith in training. Very in tune with the dark side of the Force. Well, those are the narcissistic ones. And I've done quite a few shows about them. The ones that bring a lot of toxicity into the relationship. I'm going to tell you right now, and there are going to be a lot of ladies that's going to thumbs down on the podcast. So fellas, thumbs up on the podcast as quickly as possible as you pass through this, because I'm about to say some stuff that the women aren't going to like. Ladies, if you grabbing your man by his collar, if you yoking him up like a bitch, if you grabbing his clothes and shaking him the same way y'all didn't think that was fun for Tina Turner to experience, y'all not supposed to be treating y'all man like that. poking him in the head, slapping him in the face, throwing stuff on him, throwing drinks on him, throwing objects at him across the house, solid or non-solid. That's abuse. And y'all toxic asses need to be sitting in the same jail cell as OJ Simpson and Mike Tyson and Mystical and Puff Daddy, because that make no damn sense for people to say statistically. And it's not a factual statistic. And the reason why it's not a factual statistic is because the only people that are reporting it are women. The truth is that there are more socially accepted abuse against men from women in society. There is no acceptable abuse from men on women in society. It is deemed unsatisfactory in modern society for a man to claim abuse from a woman. Therefore, the statistical reports of abusive behavior from more women than men offsets the logical and rational abuse that occurs. Because if you push your man, you punch your man, you slap your man, you kick him, whether you're doing it out of fun, whether you're doing it because he scared you, whether you're doing it because he embarrassed you, doesn't matter why you're doing it. A man can't do that to a woman. Y'all violent asses should be sitting in the same place as Jeffrey Dahmer. Y'all not supposed to be out there beating on no men. Then if you hit the man and trigger the man and he knock your ass out, now he's sitting in jail because he retaliated to your abusive behavior. This toxicity is not supposed to go there. Verbal abuse. Women devalue men on a regular basis. They come on a podcast and devalue. They try to devalue me. I don't give a fuck. You're not gonna phase me. I done already been through guilt trips. Y'all not gonna phase me. These females will come onto the podcast and they'll try to devalue me because I'm speaking facts and speaking logic and bringing to them all of the information that they don't want to hear. And then they'll say something bad about me instead of asking the Google lady, go do you some research, go Google this information and go try to offset what I told you with facts. And they don't come back with facts. They say, I feel and I think, and you're just wrong because you said it. You're misogynistic, you're an incel, this, that, and the third. But that verbal abuse, nobody came up and called a woman stupid just because she was a woman. Nobody came up and insulted a woman's intelligence or a woman's skill set on the fact that they didn't like what she said. If you did something stupid, you did something stupid. The action was stupid. That doesn't mean that you're stupid. But when I told you that capitalism is based off of capitalizing on stupidity, people do stupid shit and other people will profit off of it. Probation officers make money off of people doing stupid stuff that they wasn't supposed to do, and now they didn't got in trouble with the law. Bounty hunters, people who jump bail, stupid stuff. You should have just went to court and did your due. The whole legal system with judges. You got judges and lawyers and clerks and bailiffs and all of these people that get paid by the day, by the hour to help you rationalize your arguments. That's what it's about. Whether he did me dirty physically or he took too much money off the deal, he broke the contract, violated my civil rights, treated me bad, regardless of how it is. The fact is that these people make money off of y'all not getting along because y'all too stupid to help each other out, or one person fucked over somebody else. That's it. That's it. That's the logic of this. And they're going to make plenty of money sitting in a chair like I'm sitting in a chair, talking to a group of people and then making a decision that everybody got to agree with. Whether they agree with it or not, everybody got to do it. So you got some of these that come into the relationship, they training their boyfriends how to be soft. That's what you're doing. The man is not allowed to talk to the girls. The man is not allowed to engage with other women in public. He can't be a human being. He has to be basically like Playworld, a makeshift Pokemon that does what his master says, or he's gonna get his ass whooped. Again, abusive. Now, women believe that a man is committed to her in a relationship if he submits to her and then isolates himself from society so that he can never find better than her. And then that turns into a huge problem because while he continues to be mistreated and devalued by her, he loses self-value, he loses self-worth, and he then starts believing that he deserves to be mistreated, which is post-traumatic stress and trauma from ongoing mistreatment, which leads him to the catastrophic failure of, if she ever leaves, he is broken already. and it takes him a long time to put himself back together. So again, toxicity, that is, ladies that are out here, like Usman said, the revenge of the Sith. Y'all got to cut that nonsense out, because the fact is that the ratio of men to women, especially in the United States, is 50.1% women, 49.89% men. Means that there are less men than women in the United States, geographically, of all age ranges. The younger ages, 18 to 25, is almost 1-to-1. When you start getting to 30, it starts becoming 2-to-1. You start getting to 40 and 50, it starts becoming 3-to-1. 3 women to 1 man. Each time a woman walks away from a man in a catastrophic relationship, if you can admit that the last 5 or 10 relationships that you had ended badly, if you can admit the last 10, 20, 30, because y'all body counts are high in 2025, 30 men that y'all done slept with was emotionally attached to you. Y'all call him sprung. Y'all say that he a simp because he's obsessed with you. You call him a stalker. You identify those men as stalkers because they were emotionally attached to you. You used them and left. If you've done that, if you've been involved in that 10, 20, 30, 50 times, only 1 man to 1 woman, and you destroyed 19 other women's man before they got a chance to get to him. That's the mentality I want you to think about, because women leave 70 to 90% of the time. So since y'all are the ones that's packing up y'all shit and getting the fuck out by choice, or packing up his shit, throwing it out, setting it on fire in the front yard by choice, y'all are the ones that's got the ability to make the dating game better. I teach the men on a podcast first person accountability on how they need to behave better, expect more, and hold themselves to a level of standards, and then hold you to a level of standards. But ladies, y'all are the ones that are going to be able to destroy the game faster than the men, because a man has to approach 500 women to get 1 yes. A woman gets approached by 500 men and says yes once. It's a huge difference. The ability for a man to negatively impact the dating game is based off of his accepted rate. A woman being able to negatively impact the dating game is based on her accepted rate. So if she can damage 599 people or 499 people, and he can only damage 1, you got to understand, for the 20, 30, 80 people that you've been involved with or slept with since you were not even old enough to do so, by the time y'all make 35, the reason why, ladies, y'all are having a hard time finding a good man, because you probably broke 5 good men in the past 10 years and left them there for somebody else to come and find, which also means that sisterhood, that y'all partner, that y'all boosting up the girls. Yeah, that's right, girl. Do it to them. Do it to them. Revenge on men for what? I don't know, but do it to them. Do it to them. And guess what? The men that you're finding right now got destroyed by 3 or 4 other women with the same sisterhood feminist mentality that you have. Fuck over the guys and, pro women. I'm not going to say, oh, pro man, but I am going to say pro family. You are supposed to support your man and you're supposed to support your family. So you're not supposed to put yourself in a type of relationship where you're fucking over the other person. If your pack mentality, your pack is supposed to succeed, not you succeed out of the pack. You not LeBron James. You're not trying to be the only person successful out the whole team. You're really trying to be a Drew Brees. You're taking a cut so that the team can be successful as a whole. You're accepting less so that more can happen for the rest of the people around you. You trying to be the Jesus that fed the 40 people with the 2 loaves of bread and the fish, where you didn't eat nothing, but everybody else ate around you. And if you're not going into relationships with that mentality, ladies, you're going to have a negative relationship every time. The more selfish it gets, the more selfish you become. The more selfish you become, the more demanding you become. The more demanding you become, the harder it is for you to find a man that's going to put up with that bullshit, because a man wants a partner, which means he's looking for a team. He's not looking for a ring general. He's not looking for a leader. He's not looking for a dictator. And that's what you ladies are becoming. Alpha boss ladies, very successful, very intelligent, very attractive, very toxic. It ain't my fault. It's just a statistic. That's just what it is. I know a lot of women are going to be salty about that. They're going to say something about me because I'm talking about it like that, but that's really what it is. We've had plenty of women on the show in the past 2 weeks, amazing women that was able to come up here and speak sense. I wish y'all was watching it last week Sunday. I think this past week Tuesday, maybe even that a lot of women was up here talking about like the value they bring to their husbands and their relationships, and that's like very few out of all the women that come to this channel. That's very few women that come and say something positive. More often than not, we have the bitter, toxic ones that don't like what I'm saying, that'll thumbs down it and walk away from the channel, or just walk away from the channel instead of saying, you know what? Even if I'm not doing that, I know somebody who is. He right. I'm not going to allow them to do this around me no more. And I'm going to start checking my behavior with my man to make sure that he's not unsatisfied. Because ladies, he told you he was unhappy before. Every man has mentioned when they are not happy in their relationship. And if you haven't heard it, that's because you wasn't listening. So now that you're hearing it from me, go to your husband, go to your boyfriend, and ask him if there's anything that you can do in your relationship different than what you have been doing since y'all met. Leave it as an open-ended request. Is there anything at all that you think that I could do differently or better that I either stopped doing or have not been doing since we met? And I guarantee you, you will open Pandora's box if every time he told you that there was an issue that you didn't listen, you're going to come to see he bringing up old shit because he been telling you about it, but you ain't heard about it. So don't complain. Don't bitch. Don't argue. Write it down. Write down everything he say. Write down everything he say. And then start putting in effort to change that. 30 days, you want to come back and do a peer review. See how many of the things that you tried to do. See if he recognized the effort that you put into that change. That don't mean stop doing it. Keep doing it. And if you ain't changed enough, find out what it is that needs to be changed now. If it's not already on the list, add it to the list. Start putting in effort to make sure that that gets done. If you've got to print that list out, laminate it, put it on the fridge so that you're checking off that list every day, that shows that you're trying to do something different in a relationship. And ladies, guess what? Men can do it too. We ask you, are you okay? What's wrong? What's bothering you? What can I do to make you stop crying? What can I do to make you smile? What can I do to make you happy? We already do that. Y'all just respond to them questions with nothing's wrong. Don't worry about it. Or silent treatment. Figure it out. So I'm still uniform, ladies. I'm not sitting over here trying to make it seem like y'all the only ones. But the good men are trying. The good men are the only one in a relationship that's trying when a relationship falls apart. When the woman is working with the man to try to fix the relationship improves itself and they never break up. They're 30, 50, 90 years in a relationship. But these relationships that are lasting 1 year, 5 months, 6 days, that's because y'all ladies, y'all not trying. Y'all are not trying. It's not the man ain't trying because y'all leave 70 to 90% of the time. So 10 to 30% of the time the man leave because he tired of the way he being treated, which means y'all didn't want to change. And you cheated on him, which means you gave up on a relationship and moved on before you left him. You emotionally gave up and emotionally moved on before you physically left a relationship and slept with somebody else before he broke up with you because you had no respect for him to just go ahead and leave. So in both dynamic situations, ladies, y'all didn't put enough effort into making y'all relationship successful. Y'all not supposed to get into a relationship on autopilot and just assume that it's gonna work if he puts in enough effort. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Because you're not in a relationship just to give him sex. You're in this relationship because you're valuable. So as y'all ladies are on the show, I've been asking y'all this for the past couple months. Outside of sex, your education, and your career choice, what do you bring to the table that you believe is valuable to a man? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, some women have said emotional support and emotional stability. So that's one thing that some women claim to bring to the table. Is there anything else that y'all can think of? And y'all collectively watching the podcast, ladies, collaborate with one another and come up with something that y'all do that is valuable to a man. Quick gesture, most of y'all are going to stem back to cooking, cleaning, doing the stuff around the house that y'all get pissed off about if a man says that he wished that he could have a woman that would do those things. But really think, y'all are valuable when y'all are helpers, when y'all are partners. But y'all have not been a partner in so long, y'all forgot what being a partner requires. So most women do not know what a man needs or values in a woman. Women ascribe to be what they want from a man, but they do not know what a man wants in a woman or from a woman. But all men know what a woman wants. All men know. And they teach each other what the women want. And then they do everything in their power to become what the women want. And it takes the man 2/3 of his life to make it to the best that he can be of the qualifications of what most women want, so that he can get one to spend the last 25% of his life with. So 75% of his life, he spent trial and error building himself up to the ideal man that a woman will accept, so that the last 25% of his life he could spend with the one woman that accepted him after he made himself the final project. Not before, after. But ladies, y'all do not do anything to find out what men want or need. And then y'all do not want to ascribe to becoming that, so that you can get that man, that high value man, but you want that high value man to accept you for who you are, flaws and all. I'm not spinning on that wheel. Usman said, in Islam, we believe that as the time of reckoning, or at the time of reckoning comes closer, as the time of reckoning comes closer, there will be far more women on the earth than men. Well, of course, because most of the men are going to die out in the war. You got a lot of them that are falling out from old age. Men sacrifice themselves for society. So you got, just like that man that got shot and killed at the election, firefighters that lose their lives. You don't have that many female firefighters running into buildings and dying in the forest fire. Dying in the house fire trying to save folks. I'm not saying women don't do it. I'm just saying that you don't have as many of them happening. In those dangerous jobs have more men in them than women. Their dangerous jobs are driven by men, not because the company is sexist, but because women don't want to do that kind of work because it's too hard, it's too dangerous. Men put themselves in life-threatening situations regularly. So their lifespan is shorter because they live a more volatile life, which is another characteristic that women are good for, is to keep your man from dying by reminding him when he's doing too much. Being the rock in his instability, when he's out there being reckless on your behalf, you are supposed to be able to point out when he's done enough. You're supposed to be able to thank him for the efforts he put on the table, and then you're supposed to be able to redirect him back to a neutral standpoint. You're not supposed to let him burn out. You're not supposed to let him get beat down like Rocky. Adrian should have threw in the towel so that Rocky didn't have to do all 15 rounds. She just let him fight himself to death. But a good woman would have said, no, you don't got to win this fight, baby. You stop. By round 6, stop. He kicking your ass. Stop. You're not supposed to win this title talking about something. I did it for you. You got beat to death for me. No. That's not love. My partner should not get beat to death for me. See what I'm saying? But the mentality is not uniform when we start asking women these questions. Usman said, we are now in a time where women will have a higher body count number than the years they will live on earth. Oh, my boy, Usman, let me tell you about that 15-year-old that slept with 25 boys in her high school in Myers, Florida. In the boys' bathroom, might I add, for over an hour, boys were going in and coming out of this bathroom frequently after school. If she don't get pregnant out of that, I'm gonna be surprised. But right when the abortion law came up, where people can't have abortions willy-nilly, this child out there having a massive train, 15 years old, right? She done had 25 dudes in less than an hour. Voluntarily now. They didn't drag her in there and take her against her will. This was by choice. So she ain't even legal yet. And she already got a higher body count than most men. in their mid-20s. Females is thinking, oh, men want a woman with more experience. No, we don't. We don't want you to know what you're doing. We want to show you what we want you to do. That's what we want. We don't want you to think that you know what we want. We want you to find out what we want. Do what we want you to do. The same way you want us to do what you want us to do. It's still mutual, because no matter how many women a man involves himself with, each woman is treated like she's the first one and the only one. Women know this, and women are insecure about this. So when a man goes out of his way for a woman, the first thing that a woman says, which I would tell you as a man, if it happens, I'm walking away from the situation and I'm not coming back, no matter how good this may be. If you ever ask a man, I bet you do this with somebody else, or do you do this with other women, that is the end of the scenario for you. That is it. Because her insecurity, she is comparing herself to people that are no longer in your life. So if she is going to ask you that your acts of kindness and generosity and humbleness to her is in some way, shape, or form repetitive behavior for all women, basically devaluing the genuineness of your effort for her exclusively, she ain't shit. You need to go ahead and walk away from that. Nothing other than thank you, I really appreciate it, or something to the magnitude of this means a lot to me should come out of your mouth. Do you do this for other females? Out the door, out the car. Hopefully I stop the car before you go out the car, but you getting out as soon as you come out with that bullshit. Don't even joke with me like that. I bet you say that to all the girls. All right, you'll find out, because I'm not going to tell it to you ever again in life, because you and I won't talk no more. I'm legit going to get up and walk off. And I'm not even going to explain myself. Soon as you say, I bet you do that, or I bet you say that to all the girls, all right. Because women are subconsciously going to try to validate themselves even further by fishing in that process, thinking, oh, I'm going to reassure her that, oh, no, I'm only doing this for you. I only feel this way for you. No, it's only you. No, bitch, if you don't believe that I'm going to treat you like gold, then fuck you. Get out of here. At the end of the day, I got cars, I got 20, 30-year-old cars, because I keep my cars. I take good care of them until I crash them, total them out, whatever the case may be. I take care of my dogs till they die. I take care of my family members till they die, which means that a woman that gets with me, I'm going to keep her until she dies or fucks up. So if you don't fuck up, I'm never going anywhere. So the way I'm treating you like that, because that is how much I value you. If you don't understand that, you don't belong here, which means I am apparently not with the right person. Now somebody's going to jump up and say, oh, I thought you don't live. I thought you stay with them. I'm only going to stay with the ones that's worth it. If your ass ain't worth it, I'm not staying here. I'm not going to waste the remaining 40 years of my life because you done came over here and fucked up. He said insanity from that girl. Oh yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. It was all over the news. The school is like, oh, we don't condone this kind of behavior. And look, the messed up part was, because she 15 in high school. So you had boys 15, 16, 17 that was doing this. The 17-year-olds went to jail because even though she was consensual, still a minor. The 15 and 16-year-olds got in trouble. Most of them got expelled, if not suspended. But everybody got a sex charge on a record, either in a school record or in a criminal record. And they lucky it wasn't in Louisiana when it happened, because the women in Louisiana, the governors and politicians in Louisiana made a law. Everybody that catch a sex charge getting their balls cut off. So for the 30 seconds of fun you had with this girl in the bathroom in your high school, now they're going to cut off your nuts and you can't have no children. Because they made it a law. After you serve real time, the last thing they do is cut your balls off. Castration, legitimately. I'm not joking. Look it up. I was like, damn, that is extreme. I did a whole show about it. I'm like, damn, that is extreme. Because their expectations is, oh, if you castrate them, they're not going to be able to do the act again. Just because they shooting blanks don't mean that the blood won't flow to that location. It's not going to change their mentality. Their decision-making process is not going to improve just because you took their genitalia from them. Their ability to get somebody pregnant from repeating the same behavior, that might stop, but it's not going to stop them from doing it again. What will stop them from doing it again is the fact that they might have been in the wrong place at the right time, making a poor decision, so they're not going to make that decision again. If it was related to instability, they get treatment for it. If the consequences were that bad that they just avoided the jail time, they don't want to go back to jail for that, especially what happened to them in jail. Because like messing with kids is probably the only thing that the lowest levels of crime syndicates don't tolerate. Like I guess they the most unethical people in the world that do not even value human life draw the line at children. So put him in jail with serial killers and end up being a rapist. By the time they finish with you in jail, that's it. You walking different and everything. So when you get out, you are not trying to go back, right? But they're going to add icing on the cake. You're going to serve your time and get castrated at the same time. But for those people that claim all these other different genders, just because the U.S. government cut your balls off does not make you not a man. It doesn't make you a non-binary anymore. Your Y chromosome still makes you a dude. So it's the chromosome. It's not the genitalia hanging off you. It's the chromosome. The Y chromosome is what makes you a male. So they got to eat that bullet one way or another. But yes, these are the issues that we deal with in our society. These are the issues that we come across on a regular basis, and we don't think about the decisions that we make and the choices that can negatively impact our past, present, and our future. And like those boys that was in and out of that bathroom, kikiing probably because she was a fairly attractive girl for her age, and all of the young boys was horny and they wanted to get with her. And once they found out that she was putting out in the bathroom, that they was all trying to get their first time with her, and a lot of them was running out there trying to make it do what it do. Thinking off of lust, not thinking off of logic. Logic dictate you ain't supposed to do that at school first and foremost. But logic would have thought this isn't a good idea. There's too many people over here. First of all of the red flags that came up with this knowledge, but 25 of them, only thing they was thinking about was getting laid for the first time, probably, if not the second time. And now all of them have to remember that for the rest of their life. All of them. There is no improvement on their lifestyle. So ability to rent properties, limited now. Ability to get jobs, limited now. The ability to travel, limited now, because you can't travel within a certain distance of schools. You can't live within a certain distance of schools. You can't live in certain complexes that don't allow that on your rap sheet. You can't be employed by certain businesses that don't allow that on your rap sheet. So your whole life compromised. You're probably not going to be able to make it to certain schools because of that on your rap sheet. And this is the worst part, because you caught that kind of charge. Any kind of activity that occurs in your neighborhood that is related to that type of charge, until they find a suspect, everybody with that charge is a suspect. So now the police coming to your door every time a sex charge happens because you got a sex charge in your history. They just want to see what you've been up to. And since you are a reformed convict, your constitutional right to them kicking your door in do not apply as much as people who are considered law-abiding citizens. Part of the agreement to your release is that they have the legal right to search you whenever they want to turn your house upside down, whatever they want to, just to make sure that you're still abiding by the rules of your release. And when you agree to these terms, you no longer have the same lifestyle that you would have had you not gone in that bathroom. These are the poor choices. I would have told my sons, don't ever participate in a group activity. Not like that. I'm not saying that one-on-one underage activities don't occur, but just based on, especially being a man, when it's one woman and 25 men, when one female and 25 men, when it's one female and more than two, you need to be asking yourself, why am I number 3? Why am I number 5? Why am I number 20? Why am I waiting in line for this? The desperation to wait in line for your turn to smash is ridiculous. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of the females that are OnlyFans girls are wondering why men don't want them, that these women believe that they got value when they got a body count of 1,100. No, there is no value there. I don't care if you don't have STDs. My mentality, I'm not putting my mouth on that. My mentality is, and I'm talking about none of that. The face, none of that. Because you're gonna kiss me with 1,100. Nah. Morals and ethics. That's probably the one thing that's taught in school. Like I told you, morals, ethics, philosophy, math that you can learn in school and apply immediately after class. Take a philosophy class, take a psychology class, take an ethics class, and then rethink if you use your OnlyFans career in that ethics class, you will rethink how you should behave as well as how society is going to treat you, knowing that you do what you do. You can find something else to do with your life to make money for you, where you ain't got to do that. With all of the opportunities out there for women to be Fortune 500 career women, bosses of businesses. But that's what they want to do. They want to sell themselves online. Trump is making his way around. When he gets there, I'm going to cover the story. But y'all going out of business, so that's going to mean y'all going to go back to being foot soldiers. Y'all going to be swinging it on the streets like cheeseburgers. Swinging back to the main topic, because I got a couple more pages left before we wrap things up. You have the inability to handle stress. So, ladies, falling apart or becoming angry under slightly stressful situations is a volatile scenario that, fellas, we need to be avoiding this. And ladies, if you got a guy that just flips out over the most insignificant stuff, you probably just want to let him go sit down on his own. And if you're dealing with a partner that has a lack of conflict resolution, meaning that the arguments that should have been brief that turned into prolonged conflicts with no effort to resolve them, just as Mia Usmaz was talking about over the past 30 minutes, that is not the kind of relationships that you want to be in. The history of unstable relationships, when you're going over past relationships, you're not talking about, all the people that they smashed. Yeah, you want to know, you want to check their Carfax, because if they got a lot of crashes, they're not worth it. But you're looking for a pattern of tumultuous relationships. You're looking for too many traumatizing relationships with friends or family or previous love partners. So if they got estranged family members they don't fuck with no more, they got family, sisters and brothers and aunties that they don't fuck with no more, they got homeboys and homegirls that they don't fuck with no more, that don't fuck with them no more. They quit their last job because they don't get down like that no more, because they just didn't agree with the scenario the way they were supposed to agree with it when they were supposed to be following the instructions. They left they past a spouse, and it was all their spouse's fault. They do not take accountability for why their last 5 relationships ended badly. They claim that it was always the other person's fault. That is red flags all the way across. And then love bombing. Love bombing is excessive displays of affection early in a relationship, often followed by the controlling behavior. It is not just excessive displays of affection, because love at first sight and wearing your heart on your sleeve could have excessive displays of affection from the first date, from before the first date, and it could continue for 50 years. What is love bombing is the controlling behavior that comes with it. That's when it's love bombing. A lot of narcissistic and toxic women will take the excessive affection from a man and devalue it as love bombing. Then when he stops doing it, then they're going to say, see, I told you so. No, you did not value how he treated you, so he stopped doing that. But instead of switching up and staying there, fellas, if she doesn't recognize your actions as genuine, then just leave. I won't be able to love bomb you if you will not receive my love. I am gone. That is it. You're only able to work it out if they're willing to cooperate. If they're not willing to cooperate, it is time to go. So by observing these signs, you can better assess the volatility of a partner and make informed decisions about the relationship's health and its future. Mastering risk management isn't just about avoiding losses. It's about maximizing gains. By applying these principles to both your dating life and financial decisions, you can create a life of greater stability, security, and freedom. So, what do we learn today? By applying risk management techniques to our personal relationships and financial investments, we can avoid costly mistakes, make more informed decisions, and achieve greater success. Now, remember, it's not just about avoiding risks and about taking calculated risks that align with all of your goals and values. It is also about being successful with the achievement of your goals, ambitions, and agendas throughout your life. So now that we have walked through all of that, if you guys are still here from the beginning, I want to thank you guys for watching the show. Special shout out to Usman, Red Void. I see you over there on Twitch. I appreciate you guys watching us on Twitter. Max Opposer, Liberty Twitcher, Silly Emma, Mr. Pibbs, Christine, April, Vera. Special shout out to you guys as well. I really appreciate you guys coming to the show. And I'd love to hear from you guys. If you guys have ever used risk management techniques in your dating life or in your financial life decisions, make sure that you share those experiences in the comments down below. And if you want to learn more, do exactly what Usman did today. You want to make sure that you put your questions in the comments section. I will do the best I can to research all the appropriate ones and then bring them together onto one or more shows in the recent few days or upcoming weeks, depending on how many questions come out. And then you'll be able to apply the knowledge that you learned from me and the principles that you gained from me to your life. And I want to make sure that you guys be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and like some of the upcoming topics that we have, because we got quite a few related topics for the rest of the weekend, because we have Saturday, we're supposed to be talking about the fathers in family court trying to get their children, going over those statistics, because one of the fans on Monday claimed that there are his claim was that there was only 33% of women in family law, and that's not true. I'm going over some of the statistics. Depending on what county you're in, there are more female judges than male judges when it comes to family court, but also the decision-making process of the male judge favoring the women more than the female judge favors the women is the difference in the outcome of the cases. However, only 18.6% of men actually get their children if they're fighting for their children, when those men are qualified parents in the United States over the past few hundred years. So we have not seen an improvement, that much of an improvement, in the past 5 years, where men are actually increasing the quantity of success in claiming custody. The cases usually either draw out to no conclusion, or the custody with the female, even if it's not the mother, because you notice in places like Florida, there's a lot of articles out there that's been going over the past 4 years where the children are taken from qualified parents and adopted out without just cause, where the qualified parents never get access to the child again. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. Sunday is our members only show. I know that Usman and a few others, you guys are supposed to be pinning the envelope because exacerbated exaggerations and crazy things are going to be happening on Sunday. We got our questions and comments from the fans. It's open to the public for our members only show on Sunday. And then we've got whatever happened in Canada with Donald Trump buying Canada. I'm going to be talking about that on Monday. Any other Trump-related stuff involved in that same conversation on Monday, because I'm following the Trump administration on Mondays, and then we're going to be talking about some money on Tuesdays. And I just set it up for Thailand on Wednesday, and I know that we're supposed to be talking about Egypt coming soon, and New Zealand coming soon, and United Kingdom coming soon. So I'm going to be putting those up on the following Wednesdays. So stay tuned for all of the shows that we got prepared for y'all, because I definitely put up a different topic every day of the week. And Usman can tell you, so far, I have not brought up the exact same genre of stuff every day of the week. It's always something different. But we do, when it comes down to social interactions, typically end up in a similar area when we're talking about how we should be behaving as human beings, the way things are working in the Western culture versus the way things work in Eastern cultures. So we do end up in that realm every now and again. But, I'm not just beating a dead horse with something. I'm bringing you guys more facts, more knowledge, more information, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We're typically teeing it off at about 10:30 Central Standard Time, which is 11:30 Eastern Standard Time, which is 7:30 California time, which is 4:30 on Greenwich, 4:30 a.m., which is Greenwich time, and Universal Standard Time. So whether you're on the east side of the world or on the western side of the world, you guys know that same time of day, it's going to be the same time of day. I know we're almost in March. Daylight savings time is going to happen March 9th. Time is going to go forward an hour. So 5 o'clock will be 6 o'clock. Yeah. So that means that 5 o'clock happens 1 hour sooner. So since we're supposed to be starting at about 10:30 Central Standard Time, that means that we'll be starting at 9:30 Central Standard Time when it is still 4:30 a.m. in Greenwich time and Universal Standard Time. So you guys that are watching us on the other side of the world, we're not going to change time slots. It's just for those of you that are watching us in America, we're going to change time slots. It's just because until they do away with daylight savings time, we're going to change time slots. So it is what it is. But I'm going to keep you guys appraised as to what's going on. As I always say, ladies, on my way out of the door, that as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. Fellas, I really appreciate you guys following the podcast. 68% of you are fellas right now, because we got the women starting to increase their awareness of finances. So we got a lot more women coming to the show, because when we were just talking about how the women need to improve themselves, they didn't want to hear that. So we were like 85, 90% men. But now that we're talking about business and finance as to why women need to do better about changing the way they treat their counterparts so that they can be more successful for their own personal agendas in ascribing to a better relationship. Now we're starting to see an increase in women. So the fellas that's holding it strong, I really appreciate you guys showing us love and support on a day-to-day basis, month to month, week to week, year to year. Likewise, on my way out the door, we still have Higher Ground as our show song. We have one for the intro and one for the outro. We have a whole album. The links are in the description. You can go pick them up from Amazon Prime. There are plenty of other places that the song is available. Pretty much everywhere music is heard digitally these days. So if you go and check that out, you can also go ahead and grab that. And special shout out to alanito.music, which is a Switzerland record label. The live band in Switzerland made the song for us. So I want to give a special shout out to Alanino.music for doing that. So enjoy the song on our way out of the door. Beyond that, thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now company wide. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not mounted on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.